Olight is back with another sale, and they have a bunch of new products coming out that are worth discussing. So today we're going to take a look at some of their new flashlights and also a couple rebrands of multi-tools that you probably want to take a look at. Let's go ahead and get started. We got to start with the multi-tool. So I knew exactly what this was the moment I saw pictures of it. It's actually made by Roxxon, not surprising. And actually I kind of like the new logo that they got going here. And what they have done over the original version is they have replaced the G10 with aluminum handles. And currently you can get this thing for about $10 less than the base model of the K2S. And this is now $20. So this is $20 for the sale. And even though this is not the upgraded materials like in the Elite version of this tool, at $20, this is very good. Very, very good. I like the original one a lot. At this price and at exactly, for now, for the next couple of days, this is definitely a good price. Now, once the sale is over, this will go up to $30, which is the exact same price as the standard Roxxon, which you can buy on their website and Amazon and so on. And I will tell you, I much prefer the texture and the grip and the weight of the G10 version of this tool. Now, this has a one-handed blade. This is, I believe, in a 5CR. It also has a really massive scissor. And in fact, I probably should show it on this one because it's exactly the same. So we have the scissor here. We also have a tweezer, which is tucked into the scissor arm right there. This is a very, very big, very, very capable scissor. I've done this review a number of times for this, this model. It has a saw here and all of these lock. That's a liner lock. And then this is my favorite thing. You can press this up and it will actually fan out the 3 internal implements, which you have a reamer awl, a can opener, bottle opener, a 3-dimensional Phillips with file, and then there's little graduations on the back. Now, when you lock something in place, all you have to do is press that same button in reverse and it will then disengage the lock and you're ready to rock. The only qualm I've ever had with this thing is that the pocket clip is on the wrong side. If you're putting it in like this, you want to be able to actually have the thumb studs over here. You don't want to have to flip it. It's not the end of the world, but it is kind of annoyance. I would love it if they would just flip this pocket clip over. I mean, it's the same thing with the basic model, right? It's the exact same thing. It's also worth noting that this is slightly slimmer and the aluminum handles are contoured. Overall, fine. And at $20, I think this is a great pickup. And there's another item also at $20 for this sale that you can't see unless you log in. You have to make an account. But it's also at $20. So if either of these things are something you're looking for, and I've reviewed them in the past, then you might want to consider it, at least for the sale over the next couple of days. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is the Odin S. Now, this is something in between the mini and the full-sized version of the Odin. And I kind of like what they've done here because they've shrunk it to the point where you can use either an 18650 or with the included battery kit, you can actually use CR123 batteries. So you can use a pair of those or an 18650, and I like the versatility of that. You're also going to get a remote switch that will attach to the back, allowing you to use it on a firearm platform. I think this is primarily for a rifle, not so much for a smaller item. Here's what's interesting. When looking at the outputs and the length of time they run, I wonder how much sense this makes over their battery-powered pistol lights, because they have one in particular that I saw last year at, what is it called? It was OFAN Day that blew my mind in how powerful it was, yet so compact. And I wonder if it really is worth having the remote switch in order to like accommodate this light versus going with the other one. I'm not 100% sure. I was planning on giving this to a friend to test, and I probably will do so. Maybe a follow-up is in order. But as it is, it's an okay light, 1500 lumens max. So you have half press for a lower, like medium mode, which you can just come on and it will stay on for a long time. And then you also have the turbo mode. So I will put a list so you can see how it actually flows. This runs for about 3 minutes on 1500 lumens before it starts dropping down. My experience with this type of flashlight is that it's important that it's able to maintain the highest mode possible for the longest runtime possible. And it feel like, at least with this, I don't know if it's going to be as useful as having, say, the pistol light, which I think runs at like 800 or 900 lumens, but constantly for like a half hour. I really would like to see something in the middle, right under that 1500 lumens, that can be maintained for at least 20 minutes. I think people would rather have a more focused beam that is lower on the lumen count, but higher on the candela. That would make a little bit more sense. Maybe I'm wrong about this. I would love to hear what you guys think down below. It's an okay light, and I think as a kit on sale right now for the price that it's at, it's a good deal. I don't know if I would buy this myself if it wasn't on sale. Looking at what we have available, and actually in Olight's own lineup, I really think that there's consideration for those smaller pistol lights, which they tend to do incredibly well. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you're looking for an Odin variation, I think this is probably the best one they've come up with, simply because of the battery configuration. It is more adaptable than the larger one and lighter, and it has better battery versatility compared to the Mini. That's basically what we have here. We have, I think, a better version than either the larger or the smaller one, and I think they could discontinue both. If you're looking for one of this design, this is the one to get, for sure. Based on everything I can see, this has the correct stats, I think, to make it the ideal version of the Odin as is. The next light we're going to talk about is called the Prowess. Now, this is a very interesting design, and I've known about it since Fan Day of last year. I got a chance to play with it, get my hands on, and it really impressed me. I like what they were doing here, and it's a versatile flashlight that I think covers a lot of different bases because it has an entire 360 lamp on the bottom, along with, let me show you how bright this thing gets, 800 lumens max. There we go. And it also has up to 5,000 lumens from the front emitter using the same UI that you're very familiar with. This is a really, really impressive, really, really cool light. However, there are some question marks, at least in my head. The first one, you have a warm set of emitters right here. Now you can see it's kind of like a disc that allows it to light up. Wouldn't it been better had it been a high CRI? I know it looks like this might be even a custom emitter, so I think that's part of the reason why they went with a single unit versus multiples that are like positioned around the outside, something that may have been a little simpler. Wouldn't it have been worth it, in my opinion, to just go with standard off-the-shelf high CRI emitters? Because it feels like a missed opportunity. It's already really good, don't get me wrong, okay? And I like the warm light, and I'm really happy about it. But a warm light without high CRI, it feels like it's missing that thing. And once you've had a light that does this, especially how nice it is on your eyes, it really does make a big difference. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. So I would love that to be the case, but even if it's not, this can run at 800 lumens for 20 minutes before dropping down, and it has much longer run times as well on other modes. I'll put like an example of all the different outputs and run times over here so you can see it. And it also has a really powerful front emitter, and it has the same UI you expect from an Olight. So hold press for moonlight, double press for turbo, triple press for strobe, and then single press brings you into the last memorized mode, and then cycles between low, medium, and high. Now low is not the same as moonlight, so be aware of that. It works exactly how you expect, and on top of it, it comes with a holster, and that holster comes with a little sleeve that allows you to mount this on a wall or in a car and that kind of thing. In addition, and this is where we're going to start talking in the negative sense, it comes with this little cap. Now this cap is Type-C recharging. Now I think you're going to want to leave this on the flashlight most times, but if you do that, you can't use the holster simultaneously. If you lose this, you're going to need to have one of their standard charging cables, but it does not come in the box. So if you were to just get this system and you lose this, you can't charge this light. Kind of a missed opportunity. And then on top of it, I have to wonder, now this is the Seeker 4, and you'll notice that the tail cap on this thing was Type-C charging. So this tail cap, which is pretty awesome, is Type-C charging. Now if I take this cap off, and I put this cap on, now it doesn't go on all the way. It could have been designed this way, but let's just humor me for a second. There we go. It absolutely works, okay? So they had the potential to skip this entire weird system in the first place. Now I think they wanted to do that because it has this little screw, which allows it to mount on a tripod and that kind of thing. But they could have skipped that and just gone with a USB Type-C tail, and it would have worked fine. In fact, can we just sell, please, a Type-C cap? That would be really great. And then on top of it, what really kind of annoys me about this is we already have holsters that are designed for the other Seeker, the Seeker 4 Pro, and that one has a built-in Type-C port inside the holster. Now you're like, oh, does this work with this? And it doesn't really. I don't think it goes all the way in. I have to check it, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't work with these holsters. This is just too wide. This part right here is just too wide to be able to fit and come in contact with that little charging system. Missed opportunities here to integrate something that could have been integrated rather than designing an entire new holster for it. They could have just gone with the one they already had. So on one hand, I really like the way this light functions. Like, I really, really like it. I think it's one of the most versatile lights they've had in a long time. But I feel like they've gone out of their way to make it more complicated when there are plenty of flashlights that could have been the basis for the design. They use the same battery as the Seeker 4, right? And if you assume that this part right here, all the way down, is the same, the dimension here could have they could have literally transposed this same handle onto the prowess, and then you would have had a light that would have fit in all of these holsters, and you could have either gone with this tail cap, which is the Type-C cap, or you could go with the standard charging cable, but at least the holster becomes the charger, which I actually think makes a lot of sense. So now you're taking the holster with you to go and do what you need to do, and it's just a bit more efficient, and they work across the board. So now you have 3 different flashlights, all of which use the same holster system. And hopefully they'd have the same body so they could be interchangeable with this Type-C charging tail cap, which I believe that the Seeker, you know what, hold on, I'll double check something. Of course, I looked around and I can't find my Seeker 4 Pro. I'm fairly sure that the Seeker 4 and the Seeker 4 Pro have interchangeable tail caps that will work. So you'll be able to use either this one from the Seeker 4 and so on, making it a lot more efficient, right? Like making it way more integrated between everything that they have. They have so many flashlights that are powered by the 21700, and yet why wouldn't you make them integrate with each other across different buttons? Like, why can't the Warrior X with the tail switch be put on the Seeker 4 and so on? Like, it seems like they need to do this universal integration across all of the 21700 powered flashlights. It's a missed opportunity, right? It's something that they could absolutely have done and should do in the future. These are not cheap, these lights. Now, they're a lot cheaper currently because of the sale. But these little quirks, these little things, you have to be made aware of all of them. And if you are going to get the prowess, make sure you pick up at least one spare charger if you don't already have one, and this is your very first Olight. Because if you, for whatever reason, lose this tail cap, which is a very important component of this light, I think you're going to be in big trouble. And it will make using it much more frustrating. Yeah, there's a couple other things I want to talk about, so let's bring back the rest of the products and we'll go from there. Now, there were a couple other products that came out I really wanted to test. I had a friend who was going to help me, and I didn't get a chance to take a look at myself. One of which is the red dot sight. Now, the reason I delayed my video release is actually because I saw another review of that red dot that you guys probably need to watch before you buy. So I'll show you a picture of it here, and I'll put a link to that video down below. Before you buy it, take a look at that one. The other thing I want to mention is you're going to have to create an account or log in order to see the prices for these things. That's a new process that Olight's doing. I'm not 100% sure why, but just be aware of it. I shared the pricing that you will see throughout this video, and I'm very curious to hear what your feelings have been. If you've been a buyer of Olight products in the past, how do you feel about it now? And what do you think about these products so far? They stay consistent. They have very high quality products. They have very good customer service, but they are changing the way they do things. And I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it. As always, thank you guys for your time, and we'll talk again soon.